So today we're going to be doing a full body dumbbell workout. My goal for the next 2 months is to put as much muscle as I can into my arms to build up that muscle, the muscles in the tricep, bicep, and some of that shoulder. So if that sounds good to you, if you want that to be your goal too, I'm inviting you to come along with me on this journey where we can work out together. I host these live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday if you want to follow along live, or if you're watching after the fact, I'll be describing what I'm doing and why to help you get to the same goal I am. So if you want to join me in that goal, it's going to be the next 2 months that we're going for this to try and put as much muscle into our arms as possible. So I'm going to start right away. We're going to be doing the compound movements for the chest and back, and then isolating into the muscles in the arm. So we're gonna start with a warm-up. For my warm-up, I start out with a slightly lighter dumbbell than I would normally do. Normally I do 30 pounds, so I'm dropping down to 20 pounds for this to warm up, to get some blood flow into the muscle before I go to my full weight for this exercise. So I'm gonna start with a Pectoral Fly. This works that muscle across here and some into that bicep in front of the shoulder. So I'm gonna lay on my back. Now I like this one because it doesn't require any sort of bench setup, so I don't have to worry about moving around a bench. I'm gonna bring my arms out to the sides where my hands are right above the ground, almost touching the ground, and then back towards the middle. Now you wanna come back right over the top of your shoulder. So I'm pulling across my chest, pulling in towards the middle. Now, what I'm gonna be doing for the next couple months is trying to increase the number of sets I'm doing of each exercise. Normally I would do 2 sets of these, but today I'm gonna try for 3 sets to really up my workout volume. Now, if you don't know what that means, that just means the amount of times you repeat an exercise during the week. Now for my warm-up, this shouldn't be strenuous yet. I'm just getting blood flow into the muscle. If it's too tiring, at this point, you're going too heavy, too fast. So I like to do exercises in pairs in what are called supersets, where we're working one side of the joint, and then we flip around to the other side of the joint. So if I'm working my shoulders right now, I'm working that chest that pulls this way, and then I'm going to work the lats which pull this way. So it's a pair of muscles. Well, one side is working, the other side is recovering. For this, I'm gonna do a bent over row. For that, I like to actually lean against a wall to help support my back. Then I'm gonna keep my back straight, leaning forward so my arms hang down towards the ground. This is our starting position. I'm gonna pull up to my rib cage, pinching my shoulder blades together, and then back all the way down. So I'm trying to go up to those ribs and then let my arms come back to a full hang. So I'm pulling those shoulder blades apart. This is working all those muscles in your upper back, as well as your lats, which run along your rib cage all the way down to your low back. And 10. So I'm trying for about 10 reps per set, and I'm picking a weight that's heavy enough to challenge the muscle by the 10th rep. Now for me, my goal is to increase the muscle size, so I don't need to do low reps, and I'm aiming for about 1 to 2 reps in reserve. That means if I really push myself, I could do 1 or 2 more reps. Now I've had people train to tell me that they train all the way to failure every time. I used to do that too, and I found for me, I would be sore, I would be more likely to be injured, I would miss workouts because I was still hurting so badly from the last workout. It's not until recently where I started going a little less hard, where I would, instead of going all the way to that muscle failure where I couldn't lift the weight again, I dialed it back, and suddenly I've been able to grow more because of that. So because I was able to do more per workout because I wasn't completely exhausting myself on the first set. It's kind of counterintuitive, but working a little less hard sometimes lets you go further overall. Sort of like trying to run a marathon at a sprint pace. Sometimes you get through the first mile and then you're completely out of breath and you have to stop. As opposed to you run a little bit slower, but you can go that full 26 miles. You get further, even though you started out a little bit slower. So same sort of thing, same deal with resistance training using weights, about how many times you can repeat an exercise more than it is how heavy that weight is. So that took a while for me to learn. It's still sometimes difficult to not push myself too far, because I want to feel like I'm pushing as far as I can, but really the more effective thing is to try and increase the number of times I repeat an exercise more than pushing myself all the way to the limit each time. It's just, that's backed up by the scientific studies right now as well. Turns out that going about 80% is better than going 100. Going 80% multiple times is better than 100% one time. I think it's that martial artist in me though, wants to give 110 when really I don't have that to give. No one can actually give 110. I think that was the biggest wake up for me on weightlifting, is I was pushing myself too hard, and that's why I was injuring my body to do that. The other thing I've just started this week is I realized that the amount of creatine I was taking was too low for someone my size. So the number I heard is 0.1 gram per kilogram of body weight. So for me, I'm 200 plus pounds, because I'm very tall. So a standard amount of creatine was too low. The one serving, where it's just that one scoop, was about half the amount I needed to be taking. So I'm trying out taking 2 scoops of creatine per day instead of 1. So we'll see how that feels. If you don't know what creatine does in the muscle, is it helps store energy in that muscle. It's called, to get a little bit nerdy, there's a molecule in your muscle called adenosine triphosphate phosphocreatine, and creatine is that part of that. All that, what that does is your fast energy in your muscle. So if you were to hold your breath and run, you could do that for about 8 seconds, because that's that energy stored directly in your muscle. It doesn't need oxygen. It's just right there available for you, ready to go. So as you take creatine, it puts that creatine into your muscle. It has more energy available, ready to go. So it makes it so the muscle doesn't tire out quite as fast. And you're usually, people notice they're able to do more sets or more reps of an exercise because their body has more of that amino acid to fuel their muscle. So it's a very, very safe supplement, very well researched. I just realized this week I was not taking nearly enough of it for my body size. So I'm taking more now, seeing how that's gonna feel over the next couple weeks. And 10. So on all these exercises, the more times I can repeat the exercise, the faster that muscle grows. There's other things that help with that muscle growth. Putting it under high tension, so enough tension where that muscle is challenged. So we want the muscle to be challenged, but not overwhelmed. That was, again, I tended to go towards to the point where that muscle was overwhelmed. Try and not do that anymore. I'd rather work on more of that endurance and really repeat that exercise more often in a week. That's what's gonna help grow that muscle for me faster. The other thing I'm doing right now is actually giving my body more calories. I actually don't like to eat that much. It's hard for me to push myself to go a little higher calories, especially because I always want to keep my stomach as small as possible. But for right now, for building more muscle, I'm adding more calories, because if I don't have the resources the protein, even the carbohydrate to build that muscle back up, then then I'm not gonna grow like I want to. So even though I might lose a little bit of definition in my stomach, it's important to give my body the resource. And I'm trying to add about a half pound of weight per week. I don't want to go really excessive on the calories. I just want to eat just enough where my body has just enough calories to build the muscle without building a ton of extra fat either. So I'm trying to do about 250 calories extra. That's about 2 cans of soda worth of calories per day. Now, I'm still trying to eat normal foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and grains to get those calories in. I'm just eating a little bit more of them. I'm still trying to keep foods I like to eat, but adding some extra calories in those foods. So I might have an extra slice of bread or something for a sandwich. And I'm using those calories working out here. So that fuel is what enables me to actually do these workouts. And 10. And so some people do what's called a dirty bulk, where they just eat a ton of extra calories, and that will end up leading to a lot of, you will gain muscle, you will have muscle gain, but you also have a ton of fat gain with it. So if we can eat just the amount of calories we need, which is usually about 250 calories per day, we can limit how much fat gain we have while still maximizing that muscle gain. 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so if you are looking to join me on this journey, hit that like button to let me know you want more content like this. If you're looking to bulk up, build up your arms, maybe you're looking for a more toned look in your arms, that is also going to be made the same way. We still want to work that muscle. A toned look is just having more muscle mass than fat in your arms. If you're looking to tone up your arms, this is a great way to do that as well. I'm gonna drop the dumbbell down to a slightly lighter weight because we're gonna be working smaller muscles in the shoulders and back of the arms. So we're gonna do an overhead press that works that tricep muscle and the deltoid muscle in the top of your shoulder. So some of this for that pressing up, and then some of your shoulder as well. So if you're looking for broader shoulders, this is a great exercise for that. So putting the dumbbells right on the outside of your shoulders, pressing up towards the ceiling, and then down and tap the top of your shoulder. Again, on all these, I'm going for about 10 reps. I'm picking a weight that's heavy enough that it's challenging by 10. And 10. So since we're really trying to emphasize arm size, I'm going to be adding extra sets to my arms. So I'm going to try and go through these exercises on repeat at least 4 or 5 times. That number of times I repeat the exercise really is what leads to that muscle size increasing. So I'm going to do a wall curl. This really emphasizes that bicep in the front of your arm. So I'm gonna start with my elbows tucked into my rib cage, my hands a little out in front, my head and back against the wall, flat against that wall. That stops you from swinging to lift up your arms. So a lot of times people do that without realizing it, and they are working their back and legs and not their arms. So for our purposes, elbows tucked in, really trying to emphasize going just below failure with the dumbbell curl. So you want to go a light enough dumbbell where you can finish the last rep and maybe do 1 or 2 more, but you feel that burn in that muscle. If you have any questions for me about what we're doing or why I'm doing it, let me know in the chat or the comments. Love to help out, figure out a plan that's gonna work for you. And I'm feeling that burn in my biceps. And 10. So we have a lot to get done, so we're trying to go one exercise to the other. Gonna grab a quick sip of water and go straight into our second set of overhead press. So, hands right over the top of your shoulders, pushing up towards the ceiling and back down. Now this is where that creatine can help in between set recovery, because that energy is more stored in your muscle. 9 and 10. And now I'm gonna go right into the bicep curl again. So we're challenging that muscle with multiple sets to really try and pull all those nutrients into that muscle. 8, 9, and 10. So you should feel that burning in your arm. Take a second, we're partway through. Now, if you need to, if it gets too much to do 10 with that weight, you can always drop down the weight a little bit or drop the number of reps a little bit. So say the first set you did 10, I might get to our third set and not be able to do quite 10. And that's okay. The important thing is that we're challenging the muscle. So you feel that burning feeling in that muscle, and that's going to tell you that muscle is going to grow, because that lactic acid, that burning feeling, helps signal your body to grow that muscle inside. So if you feel like your muscle is burning, don't get tied up in the number of reps. The more important thing is the signals your body is sending to itself. So, I used to get caught up in reps, saying, oh, I have to hit 10, otherwise I failed. So I pushed myself too hard. I actually injured my knee back when I was training for my black belt because I was pushing so hard where I'm like, oh, I have to get 50 squats in. And I tore a bone in my knee doing it. Took a while for me. It's honestly still difficult sometimes to actually not push myself past my limits where I get injured a little bit. It's about being wise with what you're doing. I'm gonna take just a minute longer because my shoulders are still burning. I wanna jump right back in, but I'm gonna take a minute more, let that lactic acid clear a little bit so I can get good quality reps in. Because if I keep on going at this pace right now, I might have to end at 3 sets, and I wanna get 4 or 5 sets in for my arms, because the more sets I can do, the faster my arms are going to grow. So if you're like me and you are just gung-ho pushing, you're pushing forward, you're pushing yourself, but it's very easy for you to over press and push yourself too far beyond your limits. It's okay to take a moment, take a breather, come back and make sure you're doing it right. I think that's the thing I've learned the most this year, is pacing myself better. I tend to run things more like sprints than marathons, and it's important in weightlifting especially to not just try and jump to the next weight, to go heavier, go heavier, go home. Instead, saying, okay, how am I gonna come back here 2 days from now and do the same workout again, or the same muscles again, and be able to push, continue to push and continue to build. So if you've had that experience too, where when you pushed your body too far, let me know about it in the chat. Love to hear how you realize what works well for your body. If I can encourage you in any way, let me know. Whew. Man, third set. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm trying to have good reps all the way through, all the way down straight. 6, 7, and 8. Oh, I'm stopping at 8 on set number 3. So I can feel that burning in my muscle. I know that if I kept on going, I could maybe get to 10, but that would create so much fatigue in my arm, I'd have to stop at 3 sets. And I want to try and get at least 4 sets in today of these exercises. So to do that, I'm going a little bit, I'm staying within my limits, instead of trying to push past my limits and then lose out on the workout I wanted to do. So I'm trying to get all the way through my sets. So for that, I'm adjusting my rep to make sure that I can get as many sets as I can in. All right, one more overhead press set. We're gonna go for 4 sets today. I think that is about gonna be the limit for today. So this is our first week back. I took a week off to let my joints heal after cutting weight. So I like to take a week off every 8 weeks. So now we're just at the start of our new 8-week muscle mass increasing set. And 8. So this is just at the beginning, especially on the beginning. I don't want to go so far that I hurt myself right at the very beginning. I want to start and gradually build up speed over time. If you are liking this workout and want to see more, if you want to join me on this journey of building up muscle over the next 2 months, then hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified anytime I go live. If you want to be here live with me, asking questions, and looking for some help, I'm here for you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. All right, last set of wall curls. I'll show you what I'm doing from the side. You can see that my back is flat against the wall, hips and head flat, arms slightly to the front to put all that tension into the bicep. Now I'm gonna see how many of these I can get. I'm gonna try and get at least 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, last one, and 6. So, first set I could do 10, last set I can maybe do 7. So I stopped at 6 because I can feel that muscle is really almost shaking. Trying to get it, so I've gotten everything I can out of that muscle. So even trying to tense up my arm like this, it's hard to do because that muscle is tired. That's a good sign. That means we got everything we can out of that muscle. Trying to do more reps doesn't really get me a whole lot more muscle. It's a little bit more muscle maybe, but a ton more soreness and fatigue. So that's why we want to try and dial it back. That's why I had to learn to dial it back. Instead of doing 4 reps at the end where I'm really going even beyond failure, trying to sort of swing back up and then slowly drop it down. Instead of doing that, I focused on going just below that limit and trying to do more volume by adding more sets. So that was everything for the arms. We focused on the chest, the back, and then the tricep, bicep, and shoulder. So I'm gonna end with a little bit of lower body work. So doing some weighted squats. So I'm gonna grab a dumbbell in each hand. My feet are about shoulder width apart. I'm trying to keep my chest up. So up straight like this as I bend my knees, going down to the ground. So I'm gonna go to where my dumbbells are just above the ground, bending my knees, keeping my back flat. So bending down and then back up. You should feel this right here in the front of your quads. And I'm going to go until I feel that burning feeling in the front of my quads. Now that might be 10 reps, might be 20 reps. I'm just going until I feel that burn in the muscle. Now I'm doing a lighter weight with more reps because I found for me that's better on my low back, and that way I can really target those leg muscles Get them to feel that burn rather than feeling my low back ache. And I'm gonna stop there and set the dumbbells down to the side. So that was just working the muscles here in the front of my legs. Now I'm gonna work the muscles in the back of my legs and hip. Now for this, I like to do a single leg hip bridge. So I'm gonna put one leg down, one leg up. This is the leg we're working, this down leg, working these muscles in the back of the thigh and hip. So from here, I'm gonna push down through my heel straight into the ground. Bridging my hips up, to feel that tense up in my glutes, going all the way back down. Now my core has to engage on this as well, so I don't tip to the side. I wanna try and keep this leg pointed straight up, so I know if it tips out or tips this way, my core hasn't engaged to stabilize that movement. So I'm pushing up and then back down. Should feel that in your glutes. Doing 10 each side for me is pretty good. I wanna just go until I feel that fatigue build up in the back of my leg. And relax. Now if you need to, you can do this as a 2-leg variation. If one leg is too intense, you can do 2 legs at the same time, pushing down, bridging your hips up towards the front. Especially if you have tight hip flexors in the front, this can help loosen up those muscles as you engage the muscles in the back to push forward. So for our legs, I'm gonna do 2 sets because those tend to be more challenging, more draining. We're just about done. I have one more set left to go. So we really emphasized upper body today. We did 3 sets for the chest and lats, 4 sets for the bicep, tricep, and deltoid, and then we're doing 2 sets just to maintain the strength in our legs. Or maybe grow it just a little bit, but we don't want all the weight. We don't want to build a ton of muscle mass here. We want that muscle mass up here. So I'm doing more upper body than lower body. Whew. I know when I started this today, I have a pretty bad sinus headache from the weather today. So I really didn't want to work out. Don't feel like it, my head hurts. If you have days like that, I totally get it, I do too. But that's why I wanna be here on the live stream to support, because I know we all have those days where we don't feel like working out, but doing what you can is so much more than doing nothing. So I wanna encourage you, even if you don't feel your best, doing what you can is gonna get you so much further than doing, waiting till it's all perfect. Because honestly, life happens and it's never all perfect, but every little bit you can invest into this, every minute you spend doing this adds up over time. So I want you to be able to be happy and healthy, have a strong body all the way to when you're 50, 60, 70 years old, you still have strong muscle, strong joints. So for me, I'm 38. I'm wanting to be stronger at 40, have a stronger physique at 40 than I ever had. And that's what I'm building towards in the next couple months. Just trying to build muscle mass, to be stronger, be better. My goal is to have a 6-pack by 40 as a long-term goal. So to do that, what I'm doing is every 2 months, I lose weight, and then the next 2 months, I gain half of it back as muscle. And then I do it all again. I lose weight. So I'm trying to lose 8 pounds in 2 months and then gain 4 pounds of muscle, or 4 pounds, most of it being muscle. Now I lose 8 pounds and gain 4 pounds of muscle. So if you're like me, want to build up muscle in your arms, build a stronger body and physique, then hit that like button and subscribe to be here live. I used to do every 3 months. trying to take a 3-month diet, 3-month bulk up. I just found that was too long for me. So some people, 3 months is a perfect number for that. If you can do a 3-month weight loss, I would be losing 12 pounds in 3 months if I was to do it that way. So it's finding that sweet spot for your body. For some people, that's a longer period. Some people, it's a shorter period. For me, that 2 month is right, 2 months on a weight loss diet or 2 months on a muscle gain diet. Those are the places I found that work the best for me. So that means I'm going through 6 cycles in a year of gaining weight and losing weight. So far, that's worked out pretty well for me. All right, last set. Lifting one leg up, just a little bit over so you can see me easier. Pushing down through my heel, pushing my hips up towards the front. Trying to get my hips pushed up towards my knee height. And same thing on the other side. Pushing my hips up towards the front and back down. So I used to try and lose weight and then maintain or gaintain, where I'd gain muscle but keep the same weight at the same time. I found that ideally that sounds really nice, but it never really worked for me. So what I found is actually going into eating more calories to fuel more muscles. Eating about 250 calories more per day gives more muscle mass and builds me up faster rather than trying to just keep the same weight and build up that way. It's very little muscle built during that, as opposed to when I add extra calories, that's when I started seeing the larger amount of muscle build. So I found that, along with other things, I'll talk about protein next time and how that's affected me over my lifting career and what sort of numbers you should be shooting for, what I found has worked for me. So I'll talk about that next time. Until then, I host these live streams Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Hope to see you there.